Hi everybody, Jason here, and this is a quick video for the TerraPro team. I promised you all that I would show you 4 options that I think we could use for our onboarding project. I'm really excited to present these to you. Okay, so very first thing I want to show you is these are the 4 options that I'm comparing, and I'm comparing it against our features list. So the first option is using Google Sites as a tool that we can use for onboarding. The next one is called CourseCraft, or we could use something else, which I'm calling a light sort of online course platform. A fully customized WordPress option, and then a full sort of LMS platform as well. And so you can see how they all stack up. Really the only one that can provide sort of an online certificate that I've been able to gather is the Succeed LMS. Let's go through all of these though in a little bit more detail. So this is just a quick demo Google Sites page. So the way that this would work is Google Sites is basically a website or an interface that we can use to basically organize information and present it. And so here we can actually style the pages and so on. It looks great on mobile. We can have some content. We can include videos. So here's where maybe we would have like our corporate history video. And then what we can do is we can also include or embed a Google form, which we can use for our quizzes. So what does this look like? I'm just going to do a little preview here. And on the side, we would have like the different, so here it would say something like, TerraPro onboarding program. You would have, the first module and the second module here. You'd go through the first module, watch the video, and then what I would do is I would fill in the questionnaire so you can actually have a test here. So I put in my email address and I would answer the questions. Here I just did a demo of one question and then submit. So this actually looks really good, and then I would be able to click to the next module and start going through the next one. So that's Google Sites. A couple of things about it that we have to keep in mind is that Google Sites can either be open, fully open, so anybody with a link can actually access the content, or it could be fully closed, which means we need to create a user under a Google business account. And right now, from what I gather, it's about $5 per user. So it's just something to keep in mind. The other thing too is we can get around things where, let's say that you have subcontractors, they can all share the same access, but we can use Google Forms and the testing to be on an individual basis by email address and certify people according to their individual email address. So some ways around it, but it's not the cleanest sort of user permission platform maybe that we would hope, and that's why I've got a little dash here. Okay. So the next one that I'd like to show you is just using a platform like CourseCraft. Now there's a few out there, and basically like these platforms allow us to publish content on the web. And they're more meant for sort of online courses. So I'm going to take you through this one right away here. Okay, so I'm going to click on it here. And I've used this platform. All of the platforms that I'm showing you today are ones that I've used in the past. And here I just did a really quick onboarding test. So you can see you would have the different lessons. So maybe company history, our brand, safety, policies, and it's all modular. We could add more lessons. So when I hit the company history, I can actually go through this module. So I might have a little welcome message, a video that I can watch. And again, here, right now, for now, I actually just embedded the Google questionnaire. However, if you have the paid version of this, which we would have to have, there's actually a built-in quizzing system. So here you can ask a few questions after each one, and then you would mark complete, and then people can actually like comment on the course as well. Now, a few things that we have to keep in mind. You're going to have this made with CourseCraft tag, and that's going to be there no matter what, even with the paid options. And you're going to have some parts of the user experience that will actually look like an online learning platform. So like basically you're going to have people like logging in using this CourseCraft sort of authentication system. So everything is sort of co-branded. It'll say Terra Pro, but it will also say CourseCraft everywhere. The great thing about this is that you have all of the functionality that we need, other than the certification and being able to send out the certification automatically, for a really low cost. It's about $60 US per month, and gives us a lot of flexibility, and again, completely modular. So maybe think of this as more of a little bit more of a professional version of, where's my slides here? Professional version of Google Sites. CourseCraft, this is really sort of partly what it's made for. Okay, let's talk about WordPress. And so, where's my WordPress? So WordPress, I mean, it's traditionally used for blogging or for websites. But with being creative and using a plugin called LearnDash, which is an affordable plugin, it allows us to actually like use a WordPress site and develop it into an LMS platform. So again, like really sort of allows us to leverage, this tool that already exists that's relatively affordable, and actually like develop sort of a university per se at some point. So here, like I can click on the first topic, and it would work very similar. You can see the course navigation here is on the side, so people know where they're going to be. You can watch a video, and you can actually like administer a quiz and so on. So I say, okay, I've seen this already. I can go save, continue, and then it shows me my progress up here. And let's say I want to do the quiz. The quiz is right here. And then I can start like doing the survey, and then I can finish it. So this is a really cool tool because it allows us to have a lot of sort of flexibility over the look and feel of the platform, but we just have to keep in mind like we would have to customize something. The cool thing about it too is that your corporate website is already on WordPress, and you have some in-house capabilities in terms of like leveraging or to be able to edit the content. So once we actually built the platform on WordPress, you can actually update the content as you see fit. And it's just using a really simple sort of plugin here. So, and of course, this has a really great, robust sort of administration and permissions part of the platform. So we can show content to certain people and not, and we're making them sort of log in through the platform here, and it's completely branded. It will just look like a Terra Pro platform. So no sort of co-branding issues like we have with the other platform. Okay, last but not least, my last option, which is Exceed LMS. I'm actually quite familiar with the platform as a user. So Google and Facebook does all of their marketing training using Exceed LMS. Now, I tried to email them and ask them how much it would cost for sort of like the lowest basic level, and I haven't heard back in terms of a quote yet. But I suspect it's expensive. But it checks off all of the boxes. So I'm going to just show you really quickly because I can't set up an account, but I can show you what the Google one looks like. And it's fully customized. So it actually looks like it comes from Google. So this is the Academy for AdWords. I can actually just see like which courses I'm enrolled in or which like modules I'm enrolled in. And then I can just go through the content. And it's pretty robust. I would say this is probably a little bit more than what we need at this point. But this is really like if you're going to do a university, this is how you would do it. So here you can see like I've done the AdWords program, and let's look at one really quickly. And it does a really good job of giving you content as well as mixing video and asking questions. And I think that's how we can sort of mimic this a little bit. I just don't think it's going to look as slick. So here, like, the warm-up, your boss is thinking of advertising online, blah, blah, blah. Click each card to learn more. So it's got some interactivity. And then you can actually like go through slides. And then in some cases, on some of the modules, you would actually like do a test over here. So I've already done it. And then you would say, I'm done, and then you would go to the next one. And you could see video as well. We can mimic most of this, actually, I think, on Google Sites as well. We're sort of restricted in terms of look and feel. So if I were to look at all of these options and say, okay, like what, like what can we work through? Can I go to the next slide here? Yes. So for the Google site, I think it's relatively affordable. It's either $5 or less per user, depending on how we want to handle the permissions. It's really easy to execute. It's really drag and drop interfaces. We can also integrate, and that's not here, but we can integrate anything that's part of the Google family, right? So think about Google Docs, Google Slides, the Google Forms, YouTube, and so on. That's all integrated and can be integrated as part of the Google site. I would say the biggest con for Google Sites is that, the login and like the permissions. So we'd have to sort of, it would be a little bit finicky at first. Like we might not be able to lock it completely down unless we're paying the $5 per user. Or we have to keep it completely open. The other thing too is like your videos are going to be on YouTube, so they are going to be open. We just need to be okay with that. And just to note that we are customizing, we're taking something that's used as an intranet tool and we're using it for onboarding. So a little bit of creative sort of repurposing there. CourseCraft, $60 per month, really affordable. It's meant for online course, but that's also a con, right? So those touch points it's going to feel like an online course to people. Hosted videos, though, which I think is great, so they're going to be closed and only people can access them or the people who log in. There's an integration, there's a quiz sort of functionality, and I think it's also a great platform for a future Terra Pro U. And I think it's just as easy to update along with Google Sites. The only thing, too, is like, with this, we would have to play around with like the pricing and how people log in, because again, it's made for selling an online course. So we'd make it all for free, but we might have to play around a little bit with the interface, but not a lot of customization when it comes to the way that it looks. So we just have to keep that in mind. Move on to WordPress. I think WordPress is probably, I would say, middle of the road. It has a ton of flexibility in terms of look and feel. We can really do anything. It's just super easy to update and customize because you guys have the in-house capability. Problems with WordPress: one, we're going to be building custom platforms. So we are going to be, even though we are using this plugin, we're basically creating a custom site from scratch. So just for the platform itself, like I would suspect for myself, just to get the platform ready, it's probably 15 to 20 hours. But the other thing to keep in mind, it's got to be maintained regularly, just like any other WordPress site. So it's about updating plugins, it's about making sure things are locked down and making sure that things are secure and updating WordPress and so on. So it's just something to keep in mind. Last but not least, Exceed LMS. I mean, I don't know a ton about them from a buyer's perspective, like from an enterprise perspective, but I know as a user, like this is like the cat's meow when it comes to user experience. I suspect it's going to be very expensive and probably out of our comfort zone right now. But one thing is that it ticks all the boxes. Two, we know Facebook and Google uses it, so they're using it as their own training platform. But I think it's meant for larger enterprise organizations, and I suspect for the platform itself to be quite expensive. So just something to keep in mind. And I'm still going to sort of follow up with them and find out how much it costs to actually like leverage the platform. So I think the next step here is like we just need to really sort of talk about maybe these 4 platforms on a conference call and maybe discuss it in a little bit more detail. And then I think if you could actually tool me up with some of the content, we can go down the path of one of these platforms. Again, like I think, especially for the first 2, the cost is relatively low for us to start. WordPress, like if we commit to it, then I think it's, I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to turn out really well. But it's a little bit less, it's a little bit harder to sort of bootstrap and get something out right away. But definitely, like I think my sort of advice would be to consider these 3 options. If you're okay with doing it as a sort of as a prototype, I would actually do it in Google Site. and just try it. Get the content right. It's free, especially if we do it as a sort of an open platform, or if we decide to do it by company, we can offer a login for each sort of contracting company that gets involved. And maybe for individuals, we sort of cycle through different users if we want to get past that $5 per user. And I'm still looking into ways to sort of bypass that right now, but from my search right now, I can't figure out a way to do that just yet. But yeah, let's talk about these. But I think, again, like looking at all of these platforms, they sort of check off all of the things that we wrote on our whiteboard. And I think the next step is really to sort of choose and take a look at the ones that maybe we want to investigate a little bit further, and then start gathering content and actually start publishing some of it and testing it and seeing how it goes. Thanks a lot for listening.